Okay, so we're continuing right along. We're just going to do 2-3 verses today, and we're heading towards the northern region of Israel. And I'm going to just show you here. We have what he's calling Lebanon, the Lebanon mountains, right? Lebanon is, look on a map today, Lebanon is to the north of Israel. I'm not sure if it's a little higher up than what we say Lebanon is today, but the map of the old map of Israel, of where the Jews are, the border is being divided. Here are some of the areas which you will see in his description in our verses. So he's going to talk about he mentioned it a number of times, the Lebanon mountains, okay? And he is going to go mention Hamas. So I guess there's two different opinions here that he's quoting. Hamas, in the art scroll picture in the back, there's one opinion is that Hamas was here, I guess. Another one is that Hamas is here. So their question is, how far north? It says it went all the way up to Hamas. So we see that, again, Joshua, Hashem is describing to Joshua the borders of Israel. We're going to then, in the following class, divide it up by the 12 tribes. But right now, we're talking about these two areas. We're also going to mention Sidon as we describe the border going up to the north. By the way, Gad, the tribe, we're going to mention the plains of Gad, I think. Their tribe will be, you'll see in Rashi in a minute, they will be over here. Their area is here. So in other words, they got a property in Israel on the eastern side of the Jordan, and I believe he's going to mention this section of Gad because their tribal area is over here. They already conquered it, and he's going to mention it over here. I want to show you one more picture from the Chumash, because Rashi mentions this was a picture from the Chumash. The border of Israel has already been mentioned in the Chumash because Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu also the exact details of the border. So this is from the Kahas Chumash that we had. This is Mount Har. This is Hamas, the same area. Hamas is the northern border of where Israel goes to, right? You see here the Kinneret, the Dead Sea. Now we're describing to you here the northern border of Israel. Let's see if you could understand it now inside the actual Navi as we continue to learn the Navi inside. Okay. So we're holding, let me make this a little bit smaller. We're holding verse 4 or 5. We're holding verse 5. I think we did before last time. Okay. The Eretz Hagivli. Well, let me show Rashi here because there's going to be, I believe, sooner Rashi. Hold on. May the Haaretz Hagivli, and the land of the Givlites, which I showed you in the map. I'll go back in a second. V'chal Halavanoim, and the whole Lebanon, which I showed you. Mizrach Hashemesh, toward the sun rising. He means he's talking about the eastern border going north. Like we'll see Rashi in a second. Mibal God, from Baal God, as I told you, was near their tribe where they were. Tachas Har Hermon, under Mount Hermon. Mount Hermon is to the north. Until it reached till Hamas, to the area called Hamas, which I showed you on the map. So let's go back to the map a second. We'll see Givli, Vanon, Mount Hermon, and until it reached Hamas, right? Let me go back there. It's actually right here, sorry. So you see in Rashi, he's going to quote Hamas from the Chumash, but here you see Lebanon, Gival. What else did we mention? Hamas, and you don't have here, what was the mountain he said over there? Whoops, I keep on going away from it, sorry. We don't have here that mountain, but right there was the mountain of the Hermon mountain was over there. We saw it in the maps earlier. Let's just read Rashi here. He says that he's describing the eastern border. They had to conquer the northern end and all the Lebanon from Baal Gad to the end of the border. And then he describes the destination from east to west, on the north side from east to west, as it's entering Hamas, and that's the entire northern boundary, because Hamas is the northwest corner. So if we go back to the mountain, over here it looks like it's northeast corner, but if we look in the Gudna Chumash that we had over here, I guess it's kind of north, but he says it's the northwest corner of this border, at least the area towards the north border of Israel. So a little bit about the map. I'm not sure exactly everything fits perfectly, but we see a little bit about what's going on over here. Kol Yoshvei Ahar, all those that dwelled in the mountains. Hashem's telling Yeshua, Min Halavanon, from the Lebanon, which we saw. Ad Misrafos Mayim. Misrafos Mayim was another area which we learned earlier. Okay, we had that when the Jews were conquering the northern tribes. We had that mentioned earlier, just so you know. I guess it was somewhere, over here. It was an area was called the Burning Water because they would, I think it said they made salt over there. So it was called a big city which they conquered when they conquered the central northern area of Israel. Remember, they made a surprise attack. It had that name of Misrafos Mayim, where they would have the water go in a canal there or so, and it would evaporate, and they would have salt. Called Sidonium, and all the Sidonites, another city there called the Sidon. I will drive them out from before the Jewish people. The only thing I want you to do is to divide the border as an inheritance to the Jewish people. So although many of the Canaanites still live there, I want you to already now divide Israel how it should be, and where each tribe should get what it should get. Kasher tzivisicha, as I have commanded you, so you will tell them. So even though you didn't finish the job or it's not been conquered yet, I want you to that he gave you as a whole. The last two classes was the whole border of Israel, the outer border of Israel. And now I'm going to tell you how to divide it. And then after I tell you how to divide it, each tribe will be responsible to conquer the land on their own. And that is the end of today's Navi classes. We just finished the border around Israel.